Welcome to the second webinar of the Stitch project. Today, I am Alessia Di Francesca. I'm the operative director of FICUS ETS. FICUS ETS is a non-profit organization, and we are based in Palermo, and we are partners, the second Italian partners of this project. Today, we will talk about sustainable fashion in action, STEAM approaches for the classroom. But let's talk about the first webinar. What we did in the first webinar, because this is a cycle of webinar, we will have 7 different webinars. In the first webinars, we explore why sustainable fashion is a matter, the impact of the fashion industry, and today what we are going to do. We are going to focus on how to bring sustainability into the classroom, how to design structural STEAM learning experience. So, in a summary, what we are going to do from the understanding, that was the first webinar, we are passing to the teaching, so the doing. First of all, I want to do an energizer with all of you. So please take your mobile phone and scan the QR code. You will have a Mentimeter activity. It is a cloud. You have to insert words, and specifically the question that I will ask to you is teaching sustainable fashion means. So you will have 5 minutes, and I will go to the presenting mode, sorry, in order to see. Perfect. We are seeing the first is a t-shirt. I have none, nay, 2, responsibility, circular economy, yeah. Second-hand shopping, yeah. Use, conscience, environment affects. Yeah, a lot of you are answering responsibility. So all of these words are totally in line with our project and with our topics. And I thank you so much for this energizer. Let's move on the presentation of today. And I want to start again why we teach fashion as a matter. I want to say to you that our garments is more than what we see. It uses resources, it involves people, and also it creates impact. But how we can bring all this action into the classroom? We have a problem. Sustainability in education is often abstract and disconnected from students' lives. Is also theoretical rather than applied, and also it is fragmented across a lot of subjects that are in the schools. Now, with the Stitch project, we have some solution. Indeed, Stitch addressed this gap through a clear step-by-step methodology for teachers, interdisciplinary integration across STEAM subject, and also practical real-world classroom activities. The goal, indeed, is to make sustainability teachable, measurable, and also engaging. Why we choose the sustainable fashion as an entry point? Because we have 3 different objectives. Everyday relevance, because fashion is part of students' daily life. Clothing choice and trends make engagement more immediate and also personal. The second level is global visibility, because fashion is global system with visible impact. And also there are some consequences from the production condition to and the environmental consequences. And also is an interdisciplinary getaway. Why? Because one topic is connected with multiple disciplines, for example, science, economic, ethics, design, and mathematics. So through fashion, students will explore consumption behavior, that is really important, environmental impact, that is also important, and social responsibility. These three pillars of sustainability education will brought together in a single learning context. So students will analyze real product and then they will reflect on their own choice. What teachers need for doing all of this to bring the sustainability into the classroom? They for sure will need a clear structure, relevant topics, and also practical activities. And you are lucky because you are here and because also the Stitch project provide all of these three. I wanted to give to you a brief panoramic on the learning cycle of Stitch. The learning cycle of Stitch is based on 4 different phases. The first is the explore phases. The second one is the investigate. The third is the create. And the fourth one is the reflect. In the explore phase, students will observe and ask questions. In the second phase, we'll analyze the materials and the system. In the third one, students will design a solution. And in the fourth, students will connect what they learn to real life. And this cycle is really simple, is also repeatable, and it can be a classroom methods. These 4 phases ensure that learning is active and progressive. Students start from a personal observation. They also investigate and analyze real-world issues. They apply knowledge through design and problem solving, and also they reflect and develop awareness. So students will move from the understanding to a problem to taking informed and responsible action through curiosity, inquiry, application, and also awareness. But today we are here to understand which are some topics that we can bring into the classroom. So I will give to you a brief panoramic of some activity. First of all, let's start with the cycle of a t-shirt. The t-shirt is not just a product, it is a system, and understanding the system is a starting point of the learning process. So a simple object can be a complex system. Students in the life cycle of a t-shirt will analyze the life cycle assessment. So in the first moment, they will analyze the raw material, the production, the distribution, the use of this t-shirt, and also the ends of the ends of life. This introduces a system of thinking, not isolated knowledge. So rather than studying individual facts, students learn how to every decision is the chain and can produce consequences for people and for the planet. Here there is a system of a t-shirt. So there is the first part with the raw material extraction, then the industrial production. After that, there is the global logistic, and then the consumption of waste. So in the first part, we have the water use in cotton. After that, the energy pollution in manufacturing, and then the textile and waste in landfill impact. So students will also understand the linear and the circular thinking. We have our society is based on a linear model. So people are buying things, in this case, the t-shirt, then they wear, and then they waste. But we have to pass from here to a circular thinking. So reduce, I can buy what I need. I can reuse the things that I buy. I can also repair, but I can also recycle in something that is new. So students in this case, through this process, will develop critical thinking, compare consumption model, and make more sustainable choice. A classroom scenario that you can bring into your lessons about the t-shirt. We have the first part, so the explore part. Students will bring a t-shirt and they can reflect. Where was it produced? How often do I use it? Why did I choose it? The objective in this phase is activate awareness and personal connection. We pass in the second phase, so the investigate phase. Group research, water footprint of cotton, CO2 emission across the supply chain, labor and ethical condition, and alternatives such as organic or recycled material. In this case, the objective is building evidences based on understanding. Then we have the third phase, so the create phase. Students can redesign a sustainable t-shirt, can propose alternative materials, or also can develop a communication campaign around responsible fashion. And in this case, the objective is apply knowledge that is creatively and also critically. And then we have the fourth phase, the last phase, that is the reflect phase, where students discuss what did we learn, what surprised us, would they change our behavior, and the objective is connected all the other phases with the decision that they make. In this case, how we can integrate STEM skills and key takeaways. In all the process, there is an interdisciplinary learning in action. And for example, in science, we understand the materials, the environmental impact, the water and the energy data. In technology, we understand and we study the production processes and the innovation in textile. In the E of engineering, we design for sustainability and circular system, art, visual communication, creativity, and campaign design, and the M, so the mathematics, data analysis, measurement, and also carbon footprint calculation. This is the whole process. But now, another energizing activity. I want that you can take your mobile phone and scan this QR code, and I will ask to you a real simple questions. Is this one. Which one do you wear more? A cheap and many. So you will buy a lot of t-shirt, but that are cheaper, or one, so better and less. Please don't lie. Be clear with your choice. Analyze your choice in your daily life. So there are a lot of people that are choosing the better and the less. This is the good, but also the cheap and the many. Okay. Okay. So the t-shirt one was the first activity in a more detail that I wanted to show to you because it's a simple object. Everyone wear a t-shirt and possess a t-shirt. So it is simple to analyze in the classroom. But now I want to give to you additional activities. And we divided in the last part of the presentation the activity in the 4 different phases of our cycle. So let's start with the first one, that is the explore one. What I will explain to you, the wardrobe audit, the clothing stories, and also the label investigation. These are activities that are linked with the STEAM education and the STEAM subject, and you can bring directly to your classroom. First of all, let's start with the wardrobe audit. So what you can do in the classroom. The first phase is the observe. So students will list their clothing items. They will analyze how many items I have in my wardrobe, how often I use this, why I purchase this. Then they can divide it into category, so the ones that they frequently use or the ones that they rarely use. And they can reflect what patterns emerge. Do I really need all these items? The objective in this activity is to help students to analyze their personal consumption habits and develop awareness of clothing and overconsumption. The duration can be 45-60 minutes, so one lesson. And the output will be personal consumption profile, so a simple table of chart, and also short reflection or group discussion. Learning outcomes are identify patterns in their consumption behavior, interpret simple data, so frequencies and quantitative, and also develop critical awareness of overconsumption. The STEAM dimension is mathematics because they analyze the quantities of the usage and the frequencies. The science because they are linking clothing to use to the environmental impact. The arts, because there are personal interpretation and storytelling, and also the short reflection on or group discussion. The second activity is the clothing stories. So first of all, students will choose one garment and they will describe where does it come from, how often I use it, and then they can share and they can present the story to the group, the story of the garments that they choose. And they can connect it with the personal story to production, impact, and choices. So the objective is to connect personal experiences with clothing to border concept of production, sustainability, and consumption choice. The duration is a little bit less, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but can be integrated also into a longer lesson. The output is a short or oral presentation or also a storytelling with images or with sketches. And also they can write some reflection and also visual stories like slide, poster, and so on. The learning outcomes are develop awareness of the origin and the use of every product, connect personal choice to global production system, and also reflect on social and environmental impact. The STEAM subject in this case are arts because we are using storytelling, personal expression, and interpretation. The science because they are understanding the materials, the production also, and the origin of the materials. And the technology because they are tracing the production and also the supply chain, and social media dimension. So awareness of the laboratory and also ethical aspect. Last activity on the Explore section is the label investigation. The label in our clothes is really important. So in this case, students will take a clothes and they will examine the clothing label, and they will identify the materials, if there are natural materials or synthetic ones, the country of origin, and also the certification of the materials. And they will compare, so they will distinguish between sustainable and non-sustainable products, and they will reflect also how transparent is the information provided and what is missing. In this case, the objective is to help students understand how to read and interpret clothing labels, and also evaluate the sustainable and the transparencies of this textile products. The duration is around 45-60 minutes. And the output is the label analysis sheet, so like a grid. And they can make a comparison between products, and also they can do a short reflection or a group discussion. In this case, the learning outcomes is identify and interpret key information on clothing labels, also distinguishing between natural and synthetic materials, and also they can evaluate sustainability claims and product transparencies. In this case, the STEAM dimension is science because they are understanding the fiber and the materials and also its property. The technology because they are studying the production process and also the certification system, and also the mathematics because they are comparing data like percentage of materials and composition. But we are passing to the second macro area of our cycle, so the investigate area. In this case, I will give also to you other free activity to bring into the classroom. The first one is the Fabric Investigation Lab. The second one is the Fast Fashion Data Challenges. And the third one is the Bioplastic Lab. So in the Fabric Investigation Lab, students will examine different fabrics. So they will test the absorption, the durability, the texture, and also they will compare the different materials and understand the differences that they have. And then they will link, so they will connect properties to the environmental impact. The objective is to help students investigate the physical property of the different fabric and also understand how these are related to the environmental impact and the material sustainability. The duration is a little bit more, is 60-90 minutes, and the output will be a material testing sheet, so results of absorption and also durability and texture, comparison table between the fabrics that they will analyze, and also short conclusion on most sustainable materials. The learning outcomes are test and analyze physical property of materials, compare different fabric using observable data, and also understand the relationship between material properties and also environmental impact. In this case, the STEAM dimension is science because we have the material properties, so resistance, fiber composition, and so on. The engineering because they are testing, they are doing experimentation and evaluation performance during their lessons. Mathematics because they are recording comparing results, so simple measurement and also tables with the different characteristics, and also technologies because they are understanding the textile production and also the materials innovation. The second activity is the fast fashion data challenges. So the first is the analyze, so students will examine key data, water, CO2, and waste. Then they will interpret the data, so identify trends and differences, and they can then discuss about the data that they found. So fast fashion, for example, the visitors sustainable fashion. And they will conclude with define what is the more responsible choice. In this case, for example, there is an example of a t-shirt and a pair of trousers. So how much water I need to produce one and another one, or 1 + 1, so it's 20 liters of water. And the objective is to help students analyze and interpret environmental data related to the fashion industry and develop evidences-based understanding of sustainability. The lessons will be 45 or 60 minutes. The input, the output are the data interpretation sheet, so key finding, how many liters of water I need, how many CO2 I need, and also the waste. There is a group conclusion or a short presentation, and also comparison between fast and sustainable choice. Learning outcomes interpret quantitative data related to environmental impact, identify trends and differences between production model, and also use data to support arguments and conclusion. In this case, the STEAM dimension is the mathematics, because they will analyze data and make comparison, the science, because they will understand environmental impact, so the water use, the emission, the waste, and so on, and also the technology, because they will analyze production system and its impact. The other activity is the bioplastic lab. So students will gather natural ingredient like scratch, gelatin, or food waste. They will mix the ingredients to produce a simple biomaterials, and they will test. So they will evaluate the properties, flexibility, resistance, biodegradability, and after that they will analyze and compare with the synthetic materials, and they will discuss about the sustainability. The objective is to introduce students to biomaterials by creating simple bioplastic and understanding sustainable alternative to synthetic materials. The duration is 60-90 minutes because there is a lab where they are producing something. The output are sample of bioplastic material. They will test. They will have testing results, and also they will compare with the synthetic materials. Learning outcomes in this case are understand the concept of biomaterials and sustainable alternatives, follow a simple experiment process, also evaluate materials property through testing, and compare natural and synthetic materials in terms of sustainability. In this case, we have 4 different subjects, STEAM subjects. So the science, because there are chemical properties and behavior of biomaterials. Engineering, because we are studying material creation, testing, and also the improvement of the materials, that the bioplastic that students creates. Also the technology, because there is the innovation in sustainable materials, and the mathematics, because they are observing and comparing results that are both quantitative and also qualitative. The third phase is the create phase. Also in this phase, we have 3 different activities. So sustainable design challenges, upcycling workshop, and also econ design challenge. Let's start from the sustainable design challenge. So in the first phase, they will choose a sustainable topic. For example, reduce waste, reuse, conscious consumption, and so on. Then they will develop a message and a visual concept. So they will produce poster or digital content, and then they will share on their social media or in the social media of the schools, and they will start a social campaign. The objective is to encourage students in design a campaign that promotes sustainable consumption and responsible choice. The duration can be 1-2 lessons, because in the first one you will analyze the topic that they choose, and in the second ones they can realize the graphic materials, and the output is a poster or a digital campaign with a sustainability message. Learning outcomes for the students. So they will know how to communicate sustainability concept effectively. They will apply creative thinking to real world issue, and they also raise awareness on responsible consumption. In this case, we have 3 different STEM dimension. The art, because they will use visual design and communication. Technology, so engineering, because they are using digital tools, for example, Canva or Powtoon, that are tools that are free, and all students can have access. And also engineering thinking, because they are using problem solving, and they will create a message design. The other activity is the upcycling workshop. This is the most interesting one because they are doing something, also the bioplastic. I always like the activity where there is something to produce. So in the first phase, they will choose an existing garments that can be a t-shirt or can be a pair of trousers and so on. They will understand the damage or the waste or why they are unused, and they will transform in another object, so they can repair or they can redesign something or they can reuse in another way. And they will present this new product and explain also why they are doing this choice. For example, this kind of activity we will do in Altavilla Milicia, in the school of Altavilla Milicia, that are associated partner of the project in May. The objective of this activity is to encourage students to rethink waste by transforming existing garments through repair, reuse, and redesign. The lesson can be 1 or 2 according to the timing and according also to the number of the students involved. I also suggest to you to divide the students in group. Also, the output is redesign a garments or a prototype with some explanation and choice. So they have to understand why they are doing this. And the learning outcomes are apply creative and practical problem solving, understand principle of reuse and also circularity, and make informed design choice based on sustainability. The STEAM dimension in this case are art with the creative redesign and aesthetic choice, engineering because they are using problem solving and product transformation, also science because they are using new materials and also the durability of the materials that they are using, and also the technology because they are experiment with the techniques for repair and reuse. The last activity of this phase is the eco-design challenges. So in the first part, students will examine an existing garments, the materials and the durability. Then they will detect critical issue, for example, waste, short lifespan, or unsustainable materials. Then we'll redesign, so they can propose an improvement, alternative materials to use or reparability, and then they can present to a new design or a new sustainability benefits. The objective is to develop students' ability to redesign product by applying sustainable principles such as durability, a material choice, and also reparability. The lessons is 1 or 2 lessons of 45 and 60 minutes. The output is redesign a garment concept with an explanation of sustainability improvement. And the learning outcomes are analyze product for a sustainability perspective, identify design flow and propose improvements, and also apply eco-design principle to real project. The STEAM dimension in this case is like engineering because they are design thinking and because there is design thinking and product improvements. The science because they will analyze the materials and the sustainability principle. The art because they are create something, redesign, and also give a new visualization. And also the technologies because they are studying the innovation in product design. Let's go in the reflect and act part, that is the last part of our cycle. So we will have the swap party, the impact measurement challenge, and also the sustainable decision scenarios activity. Let's start from a swap party. It is very simple. I think that all of you already participate in one of these. So students will bring clothes that they will no longer use in their school. They can do like an exhibition in a classroom, and they can start with the swap garments with their peer. They can explore alternative consumption, and also they can reflect how does this change the way we consume. The objective is to explore alternative consumption model and encourage more sustainable behavior through direct experience. The lesson could be one lesson, so 45, 60 minutes. The output is the clothing exchange experience plus also the group reflection, because this is an activity that they will do in group. Also, learning outcomes are understand alternative consumption practice, so reuse and sharing clothes, reflect on personal consumption habits, so no longer buy new clothes that are unnecessary, but share and share and reuse the ones that I have. Recognize also the environmental impact of clothing choice. In this case, the STEAM dimension are the technology, because they are understanding the consumption system and the models. Mathematics, because they are estimating reduction in waste or number or reused items. And also the science, because there is the environmental impact of reuse versus a new product. The other activity is the impact measurement challenge. In this case, they will select a garment or an activity, and they have to measure, for example, water use, CO2 impact, materials. After that, they will compare. So what happens before and what happens after, what happens with the fast fashion and what happens with sustainable fashion. And they will conclude with define which choice is more sustainable and why it is more sustainable. In this case, they will the objective is to help students evaluate the environmental impact of clothing using measurable indicators and support sustainable decision making. The lesson is more or less 1 hour or 40 minutes according to the timing, and the output is impact comparison, so simple chart with the different choice and the justify conclusion. Learning outcomes estimate the environmental impact in using key indicators, so water, CO2 emission, and materials. Compare different consumption choice, use data to justify more sustainable decision. And the STEAM dimension that are in this activity are the mathematics, because they are using data estimation and comparison and interpretation. Science, because they are using environmental impact, water use, emission, and materials. And also the technologies, because they are understanding the production system and the impact calculation. The last activity, I know that are more, but we wanted to give you more example in order to have a different scenario. So it's the sustainable decision scenario. So we'll have the first phase in which they will analyze. So students are given a real life scenario, for example, buying a t-shirt and choosing between products. They will compare the option based on materials, environmental impact, price, and quality. And they also will decide which one is the most suitable option. And then they have to justify why they choose the sustainable fashion rather than the eco fashion. The objective is to support students in applying sustainability criteria to everyday choice and making informed decision. It's the duration is one lesson, so always like the other one, 45, 60 minutes. And the output is a group discussion with each students have to justify the decision that they have chosen. Learning outcomes are evaluate product using simple sustainability criteria, compare option critically, and justify decision with the data and reasoning. The STEAM subject in this case are mathematics, because they are comparing variables such as price, impact, and quality. The science, because they are understanding materials and environmental consequences, and also the technologies, because they are analyzing products and also consumption choice. I want to interact with you with the last Mentimeter activity. So if you want to scan this QR code, we are going to open the last activity on Mentimeter. Sorry. And here you will have more than, okay. So the first question that you will have, do you check labels when you buy clothes? We have 3, 4, 3, 4. So it's more or less someone yes, someone not, but the number are more or less the same. I don't know if there are other ones. Yes, so there are a lot of people who choose who saw the labels. This is an important thing because we can understand, it's like the food, we can understand a lot of things through the labels of our clothes. Let's go on the next slide. So, have you ever repaired a clothes? Yes or no? The data are really interesting because it's always half and half. Okay, a lot of people right now have repaired clothes, and this is also really important. We have another question for you. Have you ever organized a swap events? No? No? Okay. In this case, no people have organized a swap events. Here in Palermo, there are a lot of occasions for organizing a swap events. A lot of organizations are doing this during the summer period, also the spring period. In Sunday, a lot of them are doing swap, and second-hand shop are becoming really popular. Okay, I think that there is another slides. Have you ever used old clothes, clothes of your grandmother, of your mother, probably making it in a new fancy way? Jackets, sometimes jackets are reused. So a lot of people, yes, and nobody, no. This is really good, a good results. We have another question. Have you never threw away clothes you could still use? Yes, I also did. In the past, I also did. So I try to not do it. Okay. Thank you so much for this interaction activity. Now I want to give the floor to Maria from Innovation Hive because she is our special guest. She will introduce us a project that is on the same topic, but I will give the floor to her to explain better. Thank you, Maria, for joining us, for your presence here.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Alessia. First of all, nice to meet you, all of you. My name is Maria, and I represent Innovation Hive, an organization from Greece, and more specifically from Larissa. So, first of all, Alessia, your presentation was really interesting, and I think also our project is really connected on what you have already presented. So I hope it will be also nice for our participants here to learn more and more about sustainability and about STEAM and about fashion, as I will present about fashion also. So just give me a minute to share my screen with my presentation. Just give me a minute. So, would you let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, nice. So I will present the refashion project. So as Innovation Hive, we participated as a partner to this project. The refashion project has already been completed, so it is our pleasure also and really interesting to present after 2 years of the completion of this project. So this means, let's say in our project management vocabulary, it's also trend now. So it is really interesting. So first of all, who we are as Innovation Hive, just 2-3 slides about our work. Innovation Hive established in 2020 in Larissa, Greece. So we are a non-profit organization, and our main activities are focused into the plan, prepare, submit, and implement European projects. So our aim is to find the needs of the society, needs of specific target groups, as we are working with a lot of target groups. So we are trying to prepare these needs as ideas, as innovative ideas in order to address the challenges of our society, prepare a project idea, submit it and implement interesting activities, as these are all the projects that we are presenting now. So regarding our mission as Innovation Hive, is the promotion of the European identity and information on developments at European level, the developing of a combination of knowledge, skills, tools, values, and motivation. So through our work, we are trying to develop and create interesting training materials, handbooks, and digital tools as digital games, learning platforms, serious games, online board games, in order to improve the knowledges and the skills of the target groups and the stakeholders. And also our mission is to create links between the business, the academia, and the civil society. So regarding our work, the 6 years that we are working with Innovation Hive, we have implemented more than 100 European projects. Now we have 52 ongoing projects in different categories as Erasmus Plus, Horizon, Creative Europe, SERV, AMIF, ESF, LIFE, IDERENC, and also we are really active to all these sectors of the European projects. After my presentation, I have already sent my presentation to Alessia, so I will send you also on the chat our links so you can go through our website and also read more topics and more information about the projects. Also, we are implementing a lot of projects with STEAM as a topic. So, of course, you can follow us and visit our website to read more about us. So here also is our email, and of course my email also available to the first slide of the presentation. So now we will focus to the project that I'm here to present you, the refashion project. So let's start with a few words about the project idea, the need that we found through our research, and we implemented in a project and created a lot of interesting materials. So the fashion, design, and textile manufacturing industry is currently the second largest polluter in world. So this is a striking fact. and it highlights the urgent need for change within the sector. So also from the COVID-19 crisis, this industry affected a lot. So the crisis also created additional challenges, making sustainability and resilience even more critical for businesses across Europe. So the European Union is placing increasing emphasis on addressing these issues, especially when it emphasizes on addressing these issues when it comes to cross-border population and its impact in the internal market. So in this context, new EU directives on textiles are being introduced. So these regulations will soon come into effect and will require companies to rethink the way they operate, the way they are producing their materials, so the production processes to the products themselves. So this project, the Refashion project, is developed as a response to these challenges. So it aims to support the transition of the sector towards more sustainable, innovative, and responsible practices. So, in short, in order to be clear about the sectors and the main target groups of the project, this is a VET project. So first of all, we are focusing more to the VET educators, VET students, and VET centers with the material that we are creating. And also we are focusing to the SMEs, to small also enterprises, and also to the startups in order to introduce to them the sustainability about fashion and general sustainable ways for their production processes. So while these changes are necessary, they're also quite drastic, and this creates significant challenges for the companies. So in particular, as I say, for the small businesses and also for the SMEs, are expected to be the most affected. So many of these businesses lack the specialized knowledge and training in the overall preparation needed to adapt to the new requirements. So to comply with the upcoming legal and market regulations, companies will need to invest to the training in order to train their employees, especially in the areas related to the sustainability, to the sustainable fashion, and to the design. So this kind of upskilling is essential, but it often comes with high costs. So here with the Refashion project, our aim is to provide a lot of material. This is free for use. You can download it, read it online, print it. So through our the platform, the website that is available, the material is free and open to all of you in order to visit it. And of course, we are providing some trainings to the companies if needed. And also during the life cycle of the project, we provided trainings in national level through our project. So here are some statistics. That highlight through this figure, we're highlighting the scale and impact of the fashion industry in Europe. So to begin with, the fashion industry is responsible for the approximately 5 to 10% of global CO2 emissions. So this is a significant share, and it clearly shows why the sector is under increasing pressure to become more sustainable. And at the same time, the European clothing and footwear market has been experiencing continuous growth. So, in fact, in 2021, it reached a value of over 422 million. So, this indicates not only the size of the market, but also its economic importance. So looking ahead, this growth is expected to continue. By 2025, the market is projected to increase by around 5.42%. So every year, We have other data, new data, and also it is really important to increase our knowledge about the sustainability and also in every sector, not only in the sector of the fashion and what we are talking now, but the sustainability, it is, let's say, a word that we are listening a lot the last years. So, regarding the refashion project, the main goal of the project is to support both SMEs, the consumers, and also the vet educators and the centers in addressing the upcoming legal and market challenges in the fashion sector. So, we do this by strengthening their knowledge and capabilities, mainly through awareness raising activities and also targeted training. So, what makes our approach important is that we look at the entire ecosystem. So, on one side, we focus on product design and manufacturing, and on the other hand, we also address consumption, recognizing that consumer behavior plays a crucial role in driving change. So, as part of the project, we are developing a new educational program specifically tailored to the needs of the SMEs. So this program, as I said, is free accessible, is available in English, in Greek, in Slovenian, and in all partners' languages. So regarding our project team, of course, this is an international, let's say, partnership with partners from Romania, Greece, Slovenia, and Italy. Here are the project results that we have developed, and all of them are available. So the first result is the refashion educational program. This includes the development of a training content focused on sustainable fashion and design, and aiming to equip SMEs with the knowledge and skills that they need for this sector. The second project result is the fashion educational platform. So, in order to host the material that we have developed at the platform, and the digitalization, let's say the digital environment is important. So, through this platform, you are able to overview and review the material that we have developed, additional resources, and whatever you want about our project. So, regarding the third project result, this involves the pilot testing of the material. So, when we developed the material, we proceeded with the pilot phase in order to ensure on what we have developed address the needs of the target groups. And the fourth project result that we have is the consumer guide. So this guide designed to raise awareness among the consumers and promote more sustainable consumption habits in every life. So these four results work together to support both businesses and consumers and also educators to ensuring that the project creates practical and accessible and impactful outcomes. So, regarding the themes of the educational material, here are the three topics. For today, I choose let's say, some case studies about the third topic about the circular fashion in practice. So we would talk a little bit about the second-hand shopping. So now you understand who wrote in the previous interactive activity, the second-hand shopping. First of all, the sustainability is a major factor. So buying a second-hand clothing helps reduce waste and supports the more responsible use of resources. So instead of throwing clothes, they can be reused and appreciated by someone else, extending their life cycle. So, and secondly, there is an economic aspect. So, the second-hand shopping is usually more affordable than buying new items. So, it allows consumers to access a wide variety of clothing options at lower prices and making fashion more inclusive and accessible. And another important point is community building. So second-hand markets, whether physical or online, because both options are available now through the digitalization, often create a sense of connection between people. So they encourage interaction, sharing, and even the development of local communities centered around more sustainable lifestyles. And finally, there is an element of style and personal expression. So second-hand shopping offers unique pieces that you wouldn't typically find in mass-produced collections. So this allows individuals to express their personality and develop their own style in a more creative way. So another case, or let's say better, another practical example from the industry, focus on the brand of Patagonia and its workwear program. So this initiative encourages customers to repair, reuse, and recycle their clothing instead of constantly buying new products. So it is a very strong example on how companies can actively promote more sustainable behavior. So the way it works is quite simple. So first, the customers sort out the clothes they no longer use. They can return them to Patagonia stores, and in exchange, they receive store credit, which they can use for future purchases. So at the same time, Patagonia offers additional services such as free repairs, which helps extend the life of their products, and they also support a resale system, allowing customers to buy and sell second-hand Patagonia items. So the overall goal of this initiative is to reduce waste and promote sustainability while also extending the life cycle of clothing. So this example shows how businesses can move from a um, traditional way to buy clothes, and also it is something that also Zara now is doing, because working as, let's say, vintage. So if I buy something and it is not suits me, I can upload it to their website, and they can sell it again, and a voucher is available for us. So, to conclude, I would like to briefly highlight the key idea behind everything that I presented to you. So, circular fashion is an approach that focuses on reducing environmental impact and promoting sustainability across the entire supply chain, from the design and to production stages, all the way to use the recycling of garments. So instead of the traditional um, use and dispose models, circular fashion encourages us to think differently, to reduce waste, reuse materials, and extend the life cycle of clothing. So, designers are increasingly adapting this mindset by creating more sustainable products while also promoting the use of recycled materials. So, at the same time, consumers also play a crucial role by choosing second-hand clothing or products made from recycled materials. They actively contribute to a more sustainable system. So the key takeaway here is that circular fashion is not just a concept, it's a necessary shift. And by embracing it, we can move towards a fashion industry that is more responsible, more sustainable, and more respectful of both the environment and society. So here I have included a QR code. You can scan it. Is the website of the project, the platform, and the material that is available. And I think also after the webinar, also the organizers will share with you our presentations, and I will share with you also through the chat the links of Innovation Hive's website and also from the Refashion project, the website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. It was really interesting also because even if it is in vet education and also SME, it is really important to understand how we can connect because we are focusing on higher education, so school education. But in this case, there is also the link then. So it was really important for us to have you here. And thank you so much for your presence, for your presentation. I will share, if you allowed me, the presentation with the attendee and also the contact of Innovation
Sure.
Hive
Sure.
for
Of course.
new.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
really nice to be part of this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So we are in the last minute because also we are a little bit late. I will share with you just two different QR codes. One is let's keep in touch because, as you know, our Stitch project has two official social media channels. So the first one is Facebook and the second one is Instagram. We are publishing there a lot of activity, what we are doing, the events, the materials, and so on. And also there is the website. So if you scan this QR code, you will have the three different links. And another one is the evaluation questionnaire that I already saw that Danka, our partner, Danka is the partner from Norway, Smart Innovation Norway, who is the technical partner of this webinar. And I want to thank you also, her, for the great works that she is doing for all the webinars. So thank you, Danka. So you can scan the QR code of the evaluation questionnaire and give us some feedback on it. Thank you so much and for being part of this experience. I want also to remind you that in the mid of May, we will have the third webinar of Stitch, and we will give to you more indication via email and also via our social media channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessia. I think we can stop the meeting here because of the sharing, but you can still access the link in the chat as well of the meeting. So hopefully you all have access still to the response form. So we appreciate if you share your honest feedback so we can hopefully improve our webinars as well in the future if there is something to improve. So thank you so much for the participation and for Alessia as well, the organization.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.